Good evening, guys. It's Wednesday night, close to about 9-10 o'clock on the Eastern Daylight Time, doing a tropical update for GMED.wx.org. About a week ago, we were just looking in the Caribbean, just a potential convectional system that may impact in later on terms, which is now the potential for a tropical cyclone to form. And what we're looking at right now is just that, but nothing has formed quite yet, but looking or leaning to that theory. We saw exactly what this system was doing 7 days ago, like I said. A lot of convection was in the Caribbean. Well, now what began to happen is over the early week this past week, the system was able to just clip the northern part of Yucatan and now is in open waters in the Gulf. And that remains a big problem because the system has overcome shear, it has overcome land, and is now in open waters. Circulations are tighter and becoming more evident, and the probability of the system becoming a depression or a tropical storm remains still not said but possible, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So again, this is named right now low pressure 96 or investment 96 or investigation 96. You can call it whatever you want. But right now it's not a depression. It's not Tropical Storm Bonnie like many people are saying it could be turning into, at least not right now, but we're going to call it low pressure 96 right now. But looking at this, like I said, it was able to overcome shear and land. And speaking of shear, this is kind of the shear map overlaying low pressure 96. We saw that this system made itself just west of the hardest shear of 20 to 40 knot shear in here. And as you can see, there's really no clouds underneath this overlay here. And that's because that's some strong shear, but this low pressure 96 was able to get out of that and is now in more favorable conditions. Still experiencing 5 to 10 mile per hour knots, but still able to withstand it. And of course, there is a little bit of some isolated 20 knots there, but again, the system's already maturing itself and should be able to breathe past that. And that is what's going to become a concern, because although we talk about high shear to the east of this, the system's not moving to the east, the system is moving to the northwest. And that's going to pose a threat, whether it's not a named system, still winds and rain, a threat to South Texas and even close in northern Mexico, similar to where Hurricane Alex made its landfall last week. On the next imagery here, I'm just going to kind of show you guys the percentile of vorticity, what we were kind of experiencing earlier today and what we're experiencing now. And earlier today, this small low pressure 96 was just kind of hanging alone. There wasn't any vorticity, there was not convection popping up. It was really lone this morning, even into the afternoon today. And all this high percentile of vorticity was all the way back into the eastern part of the Gulf. Well, now it has aligned itself with invest or low 96. And with that being said, look what you have. Convection, a more circulated area, and that's why we're talking about a potential developing storm, depression, or tropical storm. And then on the next imagery here, I just want to explain to you guys what we're kind of looking at more of a closer standpoint. We can definitely see that circulation is becoming more evident because we have winds spiraling around, okay, and then they kind of curl right back into this. So it tells me there's some circulation beginning to occur. Then we look at the buoys and the ships and what they're reading pressures off of. We have a 1007 here, we have a 1008 up here, we have a 1012 back here. So these are pressures that are pretty low, and actually we have some latest information that came out earlier this evening that not a mission recon airplane, but experimental recon airplanes were pretty much scoping around the system to find the pressures and find highest wind gusts and wind knots out of the system, and they experienced and did pose a threat that there were 30 to 35 mile per hour winds in this, close to 40, and we know the scale that 40 mile per hour in that area there is close to depression stage. So this system is probably going to become a depression overnight. I can tell you that right now, okay? Tropical storm, that remains to be seen. That would be something that you'd have to take a sleep on overnight, wake up to, and see where the system is. The system is still 260 miles from shore. It can do a lot. And when it's in the Gulf is like a wild card. You pick a card out of the deck, and you never know what you're going to expect to get. So we'll see what it does. But I can definitely guarantee you guys that overnight we're going to be looking at probably a tropical depression. And more rain, more wind is going to experience itself across the Gulf Coast into closer areas to Texas and Mexico as the system moves to that direction. So that's where I'm going to lead and stop at. Now, a tropical depression, it's going to happen. A tropical storm remains to be seen. Something we're going to have to wake up to and see if this becomes more developed or stays about the same. Now, last but not least, I'm going to leave at one note. I know looking at imagery and tropical cyclones, they have their times of their downtime, which I like to call it, or their uptime. Uptime is when they're at their highest convection. Downtime is when they start to lose convection. The system may lose convection overnight. Doesn't mean it's going to lose its circulation though. So, although it might not look impressive overnight, it might still have that circulation, so you can't rule that out. So we're going to continue to watch this, continue to forecast this for you. It's going to be a system to watch, and a system that's going to bring more winds and more rain to the Texas and Mexico coast. So I'll be doing an update later on through tonight, just to update you if anything gets named or any conditions turn worse or get better. So I'm Andrew Fleck doing a GMEDWX.org tropical update. Talk to you guys soon.